To put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Mi történt? Kikapcsoltuk a mind control.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Most kimegyünk komolyan?
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Biztos, hogy nem. Tutti. Bár kaptunk egy achievementet, hogy...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ja, meeting room, persze.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Azért megyünk balra. Jobbra mentünk már. És ez nekem nem tetszett. Most akkor megnézzük, hogy itt nincs
Yet there was not a
senki.
single person here either.
Oké.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's
Van ennek a
office,
játéknak
hoping he
vége?
might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
Nem.
office.
Lejöttünk.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy.
Huh?
And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Huh?
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all?
Huh?
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
Így van.
He yelled.
Így
This
van.
is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts.
Jézusom!
And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back.
No.
The fresh air of a world outside this one.
Akkor most fölébredünk?
Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
No. Ugyanott vagyunk.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Elkezdhetjük előről.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Huh?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Hűha. Hát... még mindig nagyon furcsán elgondolkodtató.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
A meeting room. Egész addig szerintem jók vagyunk, és egész addig ki kéne deríteni, hogy mi történt.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either.
Hova tűntek a kollégák?
Disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his
Tudom,
boss's
igen.
office.
Igen. Fölment. Gyerünk, Stanley. A főnök WC-jébe is bement. Itt mindig más idézet van. I've got a feeling. Money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. That's a lovely purse. Szerint mindig más van? És ha most kinyitom, akkor most is más van, vagy? Nem. De azért mindig más kiírás van, ahogy elnézem. És itt mi van? Düm-düm. Megkockáztassam a liftet? Vagy próbáljak meg kideríteni valamit még itt?
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, ever. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Meg kell tudjuk. Meg kell tudjuk, hogy ott a Mind Control Facility-vel mi történt. Tehát ezt nem hiszem el, hogy ez nem derül ki. Komolyan. Hát derüljön már ki. Mik a lehetőségeink?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Na jó, menjünk erre, amerre escape van ráírva.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Komolyan? Ha újraindul a játék, akkor még mindig viszonylag gyorsan el tudunk erre a pontra jutni. Feltéve, hogy...
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Igen, tudom. De most már kíváncsi vagyok.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Leugrottunk? Hát leestünk, jobban mondva. Jó, megnéztük. Ja. A narrátor
As the
hazudott.
machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Jaj! Nem tudunk ugrani? Valami nem stimmel. Nem lehet ugrani? Keyboard. Edit keys. Hol van, hogy jump? Sehol nincs. Nem tudunk ugrani.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Huh? Megmenekültem?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
De jó ég. Azért ez nagyon filozófikus, tehát... Nem lehet ide bemenni mögé? Nem. Jézus Mária, Atya Úristen! Credits? The Office. Főnök. Irodája. Bocsánat, itt ásítozok. De hát nem is bocsánat, az ásítás az egy természetes dolog. És egyébként is engem érdekel. Aha, szóval itt több felé lehet menni. Freedom ending. Még mindig hiányolom, hogy nem tudunk ugrani. Underground. An early version of the underground portion of the game.
Oh, I don't know. How about they're throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing? Does that sound plausible to you? Stanley pushed the number 6. When Stanley came to the lift, he traveled upward to the power source at the top of the facility.
Azt a... Na, ez tényleg a credits. Tudom, meg fogok tudni valamit a többi endingről is, ha már itt vagyunk? Vagy vannak itt még egyáltalán opciók? Countdown desk. One of the desks from an early version of the countdown ending. Azt az endinget nem ismerjük. Freedom ending, azzal már találkoztunk. Monitor room elevator, igen, ezt ismerjük. Countdown room! Jézus Mária! És itt merre kell mennem? És nem segítenek? Zending. The screenshot depicts an early version of the ending known as the Zending, which was eventually cut and merged with another part of the game. Ezt még nem láttuk. Zending levers. Vagy levers, yes. The game is now paused. Begin the game again. Resume the game. Trailers. This is the first one. Hát, igen, emlékszem erre a trailerre. Nem tudtuk hova tenni ezt a játékot, de még most, hogy játszom, se tudom hova tenni. Ugyanakkor... Jaj, bocs, csak már nagyon álmos vagyok. Illetve azt tudtátok, hogy azért ásít az ember, mert több oxigén jusson az agyba, jobban tudjon figyelni. Úgyhogy én próbálok most jobban figyelni a fáradtságom ellenére is, vagy azzal együtt. No, és tovább. Felbúcsú csókra, cimborák. Meeting room. Maintenance layout. Na jó, csörögni fog? Nem fog csörögni. Azt hittem felvehetjük. Szóval gyakorlatilag semmit nem tudtunk meg. És akárhogy megyek körbe-körbe, nem találom, hogy hova kell jutni. Valószínűleg sehova nem kell jutni. Warzone. Hát... hű. Szóval tényleg benne van... Nos, akkor ez a Warzone nincs is benne a játékban? Vagy mégis belerakták a bringát? Stanley's Office, de 3 is van belőle. Aj, gyerekek. Nem lehet mondjuk bemenni egyikbe se. Úgy látom. Az lesz a vége, hogy kilépek. Tényleg. Most nincs ötletem. De azért még van... Jé, van exit.
Oh, look at these two. How they...